So, hello participants. So, if you have any queries regarding, I think you need to log in using your registered email IDs in order to access the attendance sheet, right? So, if you try to log in, access the attendance sheet from some other IDs, it may not work. Hello, sir. Good morning. Good afternoon. Are you able to hear me? Hello. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm able to.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yeah. So I'll make you the presenter. So, and I'll just
Shall I start or should I wait
so
for?
1 minute, sir. One minute. Yeah, just wait for a minute.
Okay.
So, dear all participants, so welcome back to this session. So today, we have Professor Sachin Chowdhury. So Professor Sachin Chowdhury is from Dehradun, India. So and he has received his BTech degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Uttarakhand Technical University, Dehradun, and he has received his master's degree in software engineering from Staffordshire University, UK, and he completed his PhD degree from IIT Roper. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in PEC University of Technology, Chandigarh, India. And his primary fields of interest are human action recognition, computer vision, object detection, software engineering, and artificial intelligence. Now, I request Professor Sachin Chowdhury to continue. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Please
Yeah.
take.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. And just a minute. Let me. Hello, am I audible now? Hello,
Yes, sir, you're audible.
am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. So I think you had a session morning about CNN, and now we will discuss the use of CNN in case of computer vision. We will discuss a bit about image analysis or how CNN is beneficial, especially in case of images, and what are the applications. So I'll share my PPT and then we'll discuss. I'll share the content of my presentation. Just a minute, I'm sharing. So is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Screen is visible.
Are you able to see my PPT or not? नमस्कार.
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Lecture चल रहा है. हाँ. Okay. So now we will start with the presentation if it is visible. So our today's topic is CNN for computer vision. So basically today we are going to discuss about CNN for images. Why CNN for images? Then problem with the traditional neural network. Then we'll discuss what is CNN. Then concept of filtering and convolution in details about in case of images. Then we will discuss about different layers, and then we will try to see some hands-on session on implementing a basic convolution neural network. Okay, so we'll start with the introduction. You all know about CNN, and I think in morning you had a session, introductory session on CNN. I don't know what has been covered, so maybe something might be repetitive for you. So, but anyhow, I'll start with my way. So first of all, we need to discuss about the properties of the images of the image. Okay, what is an image? Image is a two-dimensional array of pixel. Okay, and what is the smallest element of an image? It is a pixel. Very obvious. Those who are aware about the image, it is like ABCD of the image. Okay, now what each pixel store? They store some kind of intensity, and when combined together with the image, typical color image has three channel. That means a three-dimensional matrix, you can say. Each channel will have pixels, and each pixel in itself represents some value or some number. And when three numbers at the same location combine, they form a color. For instance, position 1 comma 1 in first matrix, position 1 comma 1 in second matrix, position 1 comma 1 in third matrix. When these three positions will combine, they represent first R, then G, then B. Okay, and when these RGB will combine, they will make you perceive some kind of color. Okay, this is the very basic property. I hope all of you are aware, or most of you are aware, just for uh, understanding point of view, or just for the sake I am discussing it. Okay. Okay, so this is clear, or if anyone has any doubt about the basic structure of the image, they can ask. Otherwise I'll move forward. Okay, so fine. So when we consider an image, so I am saying it's a three-dimensional array, and if you consider each pixel is a data point. So if we'll take a typical 100 by 100 image, so that means 10,000 data points in a single layer, single channel. And then we will have three channels, one behind the other, one for R, one for G, and one for B. Just to give you an intuition, how many number of data points we have to process. If we are processing an image, you might be aware about basic neural networks, the concept of neuron, the perceptron. You might have already seen all these things, but the thing is, we have to process each and every data points when we talk about some other kind of data, suppose stock market prediction or some sensor based data. We have to deal with very less number of data as compared to images and videos, because a single image contains lots and lots of pixel elements or pixels, picture elements or pixels.
Now,
Okay, so what it means for us, why deep learning is important, why CNN is important. So for that, I'm just giving you an example. When we take an image as an input, what we are actually considering, we are considering a three-dimensional array of numbers. Okay, and each number is an individual feature that we pass through our neural network. So you can think an image of 100 by 100, which is nothing. Mostly, if you click image with your photograph, they are in high dimension, like 1024 into 768 or something. In some high dimension images, you are clicking, which appears visually good to your eyes. So if you talk about that many number of data points, what a huge number it is. But for instance, if even if we will take an image of size 256 by 256, which is a very average quality image in terms of a layman person, okay, then we fed into our neural network an input of 256 by 256 into 3. That means 1,96,600 features we are giving as an input to a neural network. So that's a lot of features, means it's a huge number. How you will process, and this is, I'm talking about single image. What if we have a video which have 30 frame per second? That means 30 such images per second you are getting. So you can think, you can imagine, even at this very starting point, that normal neural networks are not going to work in case of images and videos. Okay, so I hope this intuition is very much clear. But to uh, further enhance this perspective, we will discuss some points about the image analysis in detail, and then we will see how CNN can sort these issues. Okay, how CNN is beneficial. Traditional neural network has to deal with lots and lots of parameters when we are talking about image and video. So that is quite obvious and quite understandable at this moment. Okay, but further, suppose you want, suppose let us assume that we want to create a neural network model that is capable of recognizing swan. Okay, I have to identify swan. How you will proceed? We will see, like, what without neural network, what with neural network, and what with CNN. We will implement a CNN by the end of the lecture, but what with without any kind of neural network or learning network to start with. Okay, so how you will identify that it is a swan? There are three broader features that you are able to see. One is oval shaped white body, then round elongated oval with orange protuberance, then long white rectangular shape or neck. If you will find these things in some image, you can say it is a swan. Very simple, very easy. You just create a template of it and just try to move it over an image. Wherever you will find the same pattern, you tell it is a swan. Very simple, seems like simple, but swan will not be always at a same position. It will change position. It will be distorted. The position will be distorted in some or the other sense. It may fly also. So again, we can call it a flying swan when both the wings are open. Okay, but it is little bit difficult. Now we got two variations, okay, but still features are there. Some kind of differentiating features are there, okay. But now you see, if we will more if we will enter more into the problem, we will find more number of features to be considered. Like now we are dividing it: round elongated head with orange and black beak, long white neck can bend around, not necessarily straight, it can be in some other angle also. White tail generally far from the head in actual image, but in this image this is very near to, the head is very near to tail, okay. Small in other image, small black circle can be facing the camera, sometimes it can see both, then black triangle. So what we are seeing here, we are seeing even the swan can be black also, okay. It can be, you see this image where my cursor is there right now, and you see this image, this also appears like to be swan. So there are lots and lots of features to be considered to make a robust, effective uh, set of patterns to decide that if this pattern will be found. Like initially you said, okay, these are the three things which we are going to see in our image, input image. If these three things are there, some round white body is there, neck is there, and a protuberance is there, then it is a swan. But as we are increasing the complexity, okay, now we are seeing the neck can be tilted also in any way, the head can be near to tail also, one more feature is added. Then swan can be black also, so it is not necessarily that we are going to look for white elongated neck or white circular body, because it can be black also. Also we have to differentiate from the fake swan like structure with a real swan also. So with that, those features, this it will appear like a real swan, okay. So this is some difficulties I'm telling about in case of image analysis. What we can do, we can, earlier what people used to do, people used to design handcrafted features, okay, like shift, fast, surf, brief, but they are, they means either they were too general or too engineered. Reason being, if I will say, if in any image there is a elongated long white uh, patch and a circular body and a protuberance, it is a swan, okay. It is too general, because this kind of features, this kind of characteristics you can find in so many number of images, okay. So you can, this, there will be lots of mismatch, so this is over generalization. You just said, okay, if it is white it is a swan, so even white wall will be a swan, will be considered as a swan, okay. White ball will also be considered as swan. Or in other way, they might be too over engineered. Too over engineered means you define 100 or 200 different features. Like we, for to identify a swan, these 200 features are must to have in a image. In that case, you will miss lots and lots of actual swan images which was, which could be detected correctly. But because of the more number of features, some of the features are missing in those images, and that's why you are going to lose that as a positive output, okay. Fine. So how you will decide? You decide with, up to this time we used to call them handcrafted features. Means we used to decide what we have to look for in an image, and this was like 2000, before 2012 and 2010, or maybe 13 also, 13 14 also, when we used to have more and more number of handcrafted features. These are some successful features: shift, fast, surf, brief. These were quite good features for the task for which they have been designed. These are very good techniques, computer vision techniques, but they are handcrafted. So now, what could be a better solution? Now we know learning. Okay. I hope you all are aware about the concept of learning. In the previous lectures, you might have heard a lot about learning. So why not learn features of the images? We can learn, quite obvious, no question. Okay, I think you are aware about unsupervised and supervised. No need to discuss about it. I hope so. If you have any question, you can ask. But this is a means instead of deciding what features we are supposed to find, we should leave it on some computer algorithm which we will feed with some kind of pattern, and we will tell, in case of supervised, we will tell it is a swan. So, and then it will take 10,000 images of swan and it will automatically decide which features are good to decide that it is a swan or not. Okay, so that seems like a solution at this moment with the basic machine learning. Okay, so what we have discussed till now? First thing, it's a image are three-dimensional array of features. Each pixel in a 2D space contain three numbers of 0 to 255 corresponding to the red, green, and blue channel. Often, image data contains lots of input features. Each pixel is an input feature in itself. Okay. Okay. So, what in a traditional neural network, we have an input layer, input one, two, three, four. Then we have a hidden layer. Then we have an output layer. This is traditional neural network. No need to discuss. I think you have seen in the previous lecture. If you have any problem, you can just ask. But what is the problem with the traditional neural network? Our task is to understand that. One of the main problem is that spatial information is lost because images, we are saying every pixel is a data point. Okay, but every pixel there is a very huge concept of neighboring element in images, because image is perceived, pixel is a very small element of an image, and image is perceived based on the visual analysis when we see an image. So if we'll try to understand the visual aspect or visual understanding of the image we want to have, then the neighborhood relation should be considered. And when we are considering each pixel as a separate information, it means nothing until unless it is connected with its neighborhood. That means spatial information, how that pixel is arranged in spatial or in a two-dimensional array. Okay, so this is one of the problem with traditional neural network. When we are saying each pixel is a feature in itself, it will be given as an input to the neural network. But when we consider every pixel in isolation, we will lose the spatial information. Okay, nodes that are close together are important because they help to define the features of an image. Then only some pattern will come. Okay, then we thus need a way to leverage the spatial correlation of the image features in such a way that we can see the cat in our picture no matter where it may appear. Okay, we will see an example of cat. Okay, so in this case, what is happening is we have to establish a correlation. That means neighborhood information is necessary. uh, so you can see here some example. Red weights will be modified to better recognize cats. Green weights will be modified to better, means wherever it is there, you just have to learn. Okay, now I'm not discussing much about the traditional network. I hope it is clear. If it is not, you can ask and we can discuss on that as well. But now moving towards CNN. I will not tell what is CNN at this moment, but just we will think of a better solution. What we are considering till now, like every image feature is an input to a traditional network, and if it is a 256 by 256 into 3 image, then we are going to have 1,96,000 something features in for a neural network, and that many number of parameters neural network has to handle. Okay, so okay, now what we can do without knowing, so you forgot about CNN, you forgot about anything. There is a cat in the image. Okay, and that cat we have to identify it is a cat or not. So just I am giving an algorithm, simple algorithm, where I have defined 5 different steps. So initial 4 are here and next one is on the next slide. So what we will do, there is an input image, okay? And then what we are doing, we are just, because we have to deal with more number of features if it is a 256 by 256. So what I did, I just divided it into 4 different quadrants, okay? Then I will apply neurons on the different quadrants separately. Okay, instead of applying on the whole image where the number of parameters will be more, now I am considering 128 by 128 into 3. Okay, so now when I apply this on the single quadrant, then what will happen? It will give some kind of score that there is a cat in the image or not. Okay, now apply the same neurons on the top right quadrant, apply the same on the left, down right and down left. Okay, and after applying those weights on the different parts of the image, you will get a score. Okay, now the next step is, if in any of the quadrant you are getting a high score, that means there is a cat in the image. Am I right? This is clear or not? If you have any question, you can ask. If no question, I can just keep on proceeding. Okay. So what we need only one quadrant or one features. We can just consider the maximum of all of these to identify that it is a there is a cat in the image. Okay. So our initial concern was there are too many features. 256 by 256 plus 1 that is bias, 196, 609 number of parameters for each neuron. Okay. Now, if I divided it into 4 parts, the number of parameters are drastically reduced. That means 1/4, 49,153. So it is reduced 4 times. It doesn't matter where the cat is in the image. All it matters is that there is a cat in the image. So by using the same number of neurons for recognizing a cat in all 4 quadrants, so we address this issue since the cat recognizing neuron should tell us which quadrant has the cat. So if you are okay with this concept, then we can move towards CNN. So what we did, we just try to apply the same set of weights on 4 different quadrants and we calculated the score. So number of parameters per neurons are decreased. What will be the benefit when we will learn this kind of architecture? We apply learning. The number of parameters to learn will be less. Okay, so now if we will learn this many number of parameters, we can identify cat, but we have to test it 4 different times. Okay, so this is again coming to traditional neural network. MLP uses one perceptron for each input. Okay, the amount of weights rapidly becomes unmanageable. This I have explained. 254, 224 by 224 into 3, around 1,50,000 images. This I have already explained. Now, if you are not aware about the concept of filtering in image processing, what it means, you have just understood the basic idea of what could be the solution of the problem that we are discussing. Okay, how to reduce the number of parameters. Now we will slowly move towards the implementation of CNN for computer vision. In that, the first thing that you should understand is the concept of filter in image processing. So what is filtering? In filtering, basically what we do, we apply a patch on an image. In very simple language, filtering means in normal language, what it means, we have to select few and reject few. This is filtering in real world. Okay. So filtering in image processing, what it means is it is a technique for modifying or enhancing an image. Okay, just because how it will enhance or modify an image, because it will remove the things beyond certain threshold. Okay, or it will, means using filtering, it depends on the kind of filter that you are applying, what it is going to do. For example, you can filter an image to emphasize certain features or remove other features. You want to enhance certain features. Okay, if there is a edge, it should be enhanced. Okay, where will be edge? If you take a 3 by 3 patch and your left side and right side columns you want to suppress, and wherever your central column is there, it should be enhanced. You keep the others as zero, left and right of the filter as zero and central one as the one, so that whenever you will multiply that filter, it will enhance the central line. So wherever more intensity is there, it will be enhanced more, and it will suppress the nearby information by multiplying it with the zero. So the uh, more intensity change will be enhanced more. Wherever more change is there, it will be enhanced, and these are called as edges. Okay, wherever change is more. Image can be filtered in both frequency domain and spatial domain. Either you can apply filtering after converting uh, image from spatial domain to frequency domain, or you can apply filtering in the spatial domain itself. Okay, the corresponding process in the spatial domain is to convolve the input image with the filter function. So this is the equation to apply a filter operation. G of ij equal to h of ij into f of ij. Okay. So in frequency space, it is simply a multiplication. If you will do multiplication, that will result in the filtering. Okay. The discrete convolution can be defined as shift and multiply operation. We will see this here. So now, the discrete convolution can be defined as shift and multiply operation, where we shift the kernel over the image and multiply its value with the corresponding value of the image. For square kernel with size m by m, we can calculate the output image with the following formula. This is the formula for applying convolution. So there is a concept of shift and multiply. Actually, if you for a moment you forgot this concept of shift and multiply. If you are aware about signal processing, then you can understand the meaning of this, why to shift and why before multiplying. Okay, but as a normal image processing person, you can understand in very simple language that there is a filter which is already shifted. Okay, so now just you what you have to do, you just have to multiply that with the image. Okay, there is a filter of size 3 by 3, you just have to multiply it over the image, and that is the convolution. That much simple. Okay, nothing magic is there. It is based on filtering, it is based on multiplication. That is what you are supposed to do in convolution. So if your concept of filter is clear, then and you know what is convolution in frequency domain, what is convolution in spatial domain. In frequency domain, it is simple multiplication. In a spatial domain, you just first have to shift and then you have to multiply.
ये starter
Okay,
वाला है, ये तो
so
पूरा चालू
already
किया
if you
जाएगा।
will consider the patch that you are applying on an image, it is shifted.
नहीं नहीं
It
वो
is
तो मैं
already
कर
shifted. Then
रहा
you just have to multiply. Okay, so you can understand that it is a very low complexity operation with, or simply you can say with constant complexity. Just have to simply multiply. That's it. That's the operation which is required to be
और का
done.
मतलब है ये
Okay, these are sample of two filters for mean and for Laplacian.
अब से ये हुआ
So we'll see the convolution. Linear filtering of an image is accomplished through the operation called convolution. Convolution is a neighborhood operation in which each output pixel is weighted sum of neighboring input pixel. Okay, the matrix of weight is called convolution kernel, also known as filter. Okay, so the whole game of convolution in images or the learning in images is to find out these filters. Okay, we have to identify the right filter, and these filters are called as weight. Is suppose I want to find a single line in an image. Okay, there will be a specific kind of 3 by 3 matrix if we will keep on moving that filter over the image one by one, first initially at the first location, then second location, then third location. If we'll keep on moving like this, then uh, if we'll move over, means over the whole image, we can assess at the end if at some point of time that filter matches with the expected output or not. We are supposed to get a specific pattern. If that matches perfectly, that means we can say yes, there is a line in the image at some point of time, okay, at some position. Okay, so now if we want to identify if there is a cat or dog or not, then we have to have a filter. And of course, line could be identified with a single filter, or some edges can be identified with a single filter. But for more complex problem, you will need more complex features, okay, to identify that it is a cat or not. Even if there is a white background, black background, or the cat is in a football ground with a lots of crowd, so complexity is increasing, and thus the number of filters or weights that you have to have for proper identification increases more. Okay, so the whole game is to identify this weight or filter, which we can convolve over the image to identify the right amount of around the to get the right output. Okay, so here you can see that this is the image A, and H is a kernel that we are going to apply as a filter. Okay, but theoretically saying, we have to rotate the kernel 180 degree about its center element to create a convolution kernel. So if you will rotate and then multiply, then it is equivalent to the convolution operation. Okay, then slide the center element of the convolution kernel so that it lies on the top of the element. Multiply each weight in the rotated convolution kernel. We will see the demo of this. Let us see if it is there. See, this is the operation for convolution. Uh, just a minute. Okay, just a minute. I will take 2 minutes break and then I'll come back. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Fine. So this is the convolution operation, how it goes. So I hope all of you are able to see the animation. So this is the filter, this is the weight, Okay, and this is the image. So this filter we are applying on whole image, and we are getting a output volume. Okay, so this is the convolution operation. Okay, we'll see step by step. This is done. Okay, so now operation of convolution is little bit clear. Means at least some picture is clear. In convolution, we need not to do anything. We just have to shift that filter by 180 degree and then multiply with the image. Okay, then
Sir, one second.
okay,
So one clarification.
this
Um,
is fine. We have already
is
discussed.
it okay?
Are CNN useful in some other task as well? This is also a question to ask. Yes, there are some other applications where CNNs are useful. Okay, some examples are given where non-image based applications also they have performed well, but our focus is mostly on the image. Just for the reference purpose that you should not say CNN are only for images. They have performed well in some of the work which I have mentioned here, like the reasonable effectiveness of convolution neural network in population genetic inferences by Lex Flegel et al. So this is used to perform selective sweep, finding gene flow, inferring population size changes. Then there are researchers who have modeled uh, who have used CNN for generative models in single cell genomics for disease identification. Then in astrophysicists also interpret or radio telescope data using CNN. Okay. Then we have a CNN model for generating synthesized voice used as a basis for Google Assistant voice synthesizer. So we are discussing about CNN in terms of images or computer vision. But you should realize that convolution is a simple operation, what we have discussed till now. If you are aware about the process of learning, 3 points are important here. First is learning, okay, which I have not gone through in very detail. What is the process of learning, how the features are learned. I expect this has been already done in the previous lectures. That's why I have not focused on that. But here, first thing that is important is the learning. Okay. Then the architecture of image. What is an image? Because image has lots of data points. That means the normal process of learning is not going to work. Okay. Then we need something different. So first part is learning, then image architecture, and then the operation that we can perform for the images, that is convolution. Basically, what we are doing, we are reducing the complexity of the traditional neural network using convolution. Because now we are considering the pixel relations, we are sharing parameter, we are uh, approximating the region instead of a single neuron. Okay, so some benefits are there. So same thing can be applied to any kind of data where your data is used and you want to reduce it, you want to reduce the number of parameters. CNN could be one of the option. Okay, so we were discussing about convolution. We are passing filter. So as I said, after filters will pass over the image, the weights will be generated, or means it will learn what weights are better. Okay, and we can then do lots of things like adding more number of filter layers, creating more feature maps. Okay, we can also use pooling layers. We'll see all these layers one by one. So two reasons are very much clear till now. First is images are big. First reason is very much clear. I have explained in very detail. Why in case of image or the other kind of data where you can apply CNN is the pixel are most useful in context of their neighbor. Single pixel has some information, but it cannot directly be converted to knowledge until unless you have the information about the pixel, about the neighbor of the pixel. Okay, Objects in image are made up of a small localized feature like the circular iris of the eye or a square corner of the piece of paper. Doesn't it seem wasteful for every node of the first hidden layer to look at every pixel? Is there any need to process every filter? If you will process one out of 9 pixels, it could be sufficient. It could be a right approximation. I don't think in any image you can find a completely different information on every pixel. If it is completely different, generally it is considered as a noise. So you have to look region wise. Okay, some localized information you have to see. Other point is the position of the dog may change. Position of the dog or cat or anything that you have to identify may change in the image. So again, if the same point of neurons will not activate, so for every kind of change you have to train your network. Okay, so these two are the major reason. Just for repetitive purpose, I am just summarizing what we have discussed. Normal machine learning algorithms do not scale well for images because of the number of parameters it has to process. Second, it ignores the information brought by pixel position in correlation with the neighbor. Normal neural network do not correlate the different data points. Third one is the it cannot handle the translations. Okay. General idea of CNN is to intelligently adapt to the properties of images. Pixel position and neighborhood have semantic meaning. Element of interest can appear anywhere in the image. Okay. Now we have discussed the drawbacks of the machine learning or normal traditional neural network. Okay. Now why convolution? Some hint I have given you, like the number of the complexity of the calculation is nothing, just you have to multiply each pixel with the other pixel. So that is the first major advantage that you have in convolution neural network. The primarily there are two advantages. One is parameter sharing, which will establish the correlation between the neighbor pixels, and then second is the sparsity of the connections. If we would have just the fully connected, the number of parameters would be which is nearly equal to 14 million. Make no sense. 32 by 32 into 28 by 28. Like if this is the traditional neural network, if we see the number of parameters in case of it will be 5 by 5 plus 1 6 if there are 6 filters. Like if you want to consider 6 different filters, then the filter size is 5 by 5. As we have seen in the first image, we can process the image quadrant wise. Okay, similarly here we are saying the size of filter is 5 by 5, and that 5 by 5 patch we will convolve over the whole image. And if we will have 6 features like that, then the total number of features will be 156, which is far less than the 14 million. Okay, convolution layer reduce the number of parameter and speed up the training of the model significantly. There is a huge difference. If you see in convolution, we share the parameter while convolving through the input. The intuition behind this is that a feature detector which is helpful in one part of the image is probably also helpful in other part of the image. So a single filter is convolved over the entire input as the parameters are shared. Okay. The second advantage of the convolution is sparsity of connections. For each layer, each output value depends on a small number of input instead of taking into account all the input. In traditional neural network, every neuron is connected to the every neuron of the previous layer. Okay, this many number of connections in case of images will create lots of blunder. So in convolution, it is connected to a small set of neurons in the previous layer. So number of connections are very less in a convolutional neural network. Now, considering all this, now we know traditional neural, we know what in images is required, why traditional will not work, why convolution will work. Now We just had an idea about all these things. Now, if want to summarize, you want to tell what is convolution neural network. So convolution neural network can be defined in the simplest way as a list of layers that transform the image value into an output volume holding the class scores. Okay, we will see there are some layers that we have to arrange in a specific way, and then we can form a convolutional neural network of our choice. There are few distinct layers which you might have heard or you might see if you have not heard. Convolution ReLU pool fully connected. We will see all these layers. First, we will discuss theoretically, and then we will implement that uh, in terms of a program. Okay. Each layer accepts a 3D volume and transform it into a output 3D volume through a differentiable function. Each layer may or may not have parameter. Means like some layers have parameter, some do not have. Yeah, just a minute. Each layer may or may not have additional hyperparameters also. Some layers can have hyperparameter as well. So first one is the fully connected layer. Just although it is last layer, but what is fully connected layer? It contains neurons that connect to the entire input volume. In normal neural network, all layers are fully connected. In convolutional neural network, only last layer is fully connected. We just keep last layer as fully connected so that we get the output. Okay. Rest of the layers are not fully connected as in comparison to the traditional neural network. This operation I have shown you how convolution is performed. Now another layer that we discussed is max pooling layer. Okay. Here, what we used to do, we used to reduce the damage, reduce the number of parameters or number of intensities in an image. How we used to do, there are like max pooling we have, along with that we have average pooling and min pooling. As we are saying, the number of data in a pixel, the usability of the data is nothing about the correlation with its neighbor. So that means if concept of neighborhood is there, then the most prominent one can represent that area. Okay, so either it may be the maximum value, it may be the minimum value, or it may be the average value. In this case, we perform max pooling with a 2 by 2 filter and stride 2. Okay, so what happens out of this first block 1156, it is max pooling, so we have to choose the maximum value of this 4, that is 6. Okay, stride is 2, then we have to move 2 step forward. Then out of this, which is the highest value, 8. Out of this, which is the highest value, 3. Out of this, 4. So in our next layer, we can represent our image with this, and our dimension is reduced. We have done downsampling by considering the maximum value from the neighborhood. Okay, this is just approximation we are doing at the cost of losing some information, but we are keeping the most prominent information among those values. Okay, anyone has any doubt in this max pooling layer? Because there can be some question on this. Okay, no question.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Okay,
There are other type of pooling
fine.
also, just like average pooling or
Then we have a ReLU
Which one is
function,
better?
or you can say activation function. The more why it is used? It is used to induce non-linearity in a CNN network. Okay, because if you are aware about the concept of learning, non-linearity is the most important thing to have for the perspective of learning. You cannot learn anything if the curve is smooth. If it is straight, you cannot learn anything. The more number of complexity will make you learn. It is just like your real life problems. If you will face more number of problems, you will learn more. If your life is smooth, you will not learn. Very simple. Okay, so same thing in case of our neural network or CNN. At some point of time, when you have large number of layers, your gradient may vanish and the network may become linear. So after certain layers, there will be no learning, no gradients, because learning is totally based on gradients. Okay, if gradients is not there, function is linear from one point onward, so there is no use of learning further through the further layers. So to induce non-linearity after certain interval of time in your network, we use this ReLU functions. We have other versions of ReLU also, leaky ReLU or some other activation functions also we have. Okay, sigmoid we have. This is the diagram. We'll see the implementation of this. This may seem like something different at this moment. Implementation is quite easy. Okay, so now convolution layer. This I have already explained. What action, what parameter, what input output is there here. Action is in convolution layer. What we do, we perform convolution. Convolution means applying filter to extract features. First thing, what are filter? Filters are composed of small kernels which are learned. There will be one bias per filter. There are two questions, okay, from you. One is about bias. Why bias is added to the neural network? If anyone can answer.
Set to contain the output within the range. Because due to somehow, if the total output
Why bias is
without-
added in a neural network?
to keep the output within the limit.
Okay.
Hello?
You can just note it down. Another question is, just look out for the answer, because this is quite simple. Second one is about ReLU function. Okay. This is very interesting question and could be asked in most of the interview questions if you go somewhere for a industry job or something, or maybe your students may go, that ReLU is a linear function in itself. How it can induce non-linearity? Nobody has noticed. If you would have asked, I would have answered. But now I have asked. It is your duty to find out. You can find, if you will Google it, you will find lots of answers. But it is interesting thing. Once you are reading ReLU, it is a linear function, but we are using it to induce non-linearity. Okay, these two important questions are there which you should know. Then one bias per filter, then apply activation function on every value of feature map. Okay. Then what are the parameters? Number of kernel, first parameter, number of filters that you are having. Okay. Size of kernel, height, width, depth is defined by the input cube. Activation function, stride, padding, regularization, type and value. So these parameters, they are the parameters which you can adjust. Okay, input output. What is the input? Is the 3D cube, previous set of feature maps. Output is a 3D cube, one 2D map per filter. Pooling layer. Next one, max pooling. What it does, it reduces the dimensionality, extract maximum of the average of a region, maximum, minimum, or average. Anything it can do. Sliding window approach. Parameters are two, stride and size of window. Input is a 3D cube, output is a 3D cube, one 2D map per filter. Reduce spatial dimension. Then fully connected layer. In fully connected layer, we have aggregate information from final feature map, generate final classification. Then we have number of nodes as a parameter. Activation functions usually changes depending on the role of the layer. Some kind of activation function will be there. If aggregating info, use ReLU. If producing final classification, use softmax. Okay. Then output is flattened 3D cube, previous set of feature map. Output is 3D cube, one 2D map per filter. This is the architecture of, now we are moving toward creating a CNN on our own. So this is the architecture of the standard CNN, where we have an input image. There will be first layers of convolution, then second, third, fourth. In between, we have some max pooling. Then we have fully connected plus ReLU, then softmax in the end. Okay, and you can see the dimension is reducing over the number of layers. Okay, because of course with convolution the dimensionality reduces. So this is the architecture, and we are going to create one architecture like that in terms of how to program by the end of the lecture. Then okay, but what it learns, this is one of the important thing. In each layer, like to start with the first layer having dimension 224 by 224 by 64, what it used to learn, what in second layer, what in third layer, what they actually learn. Okay, how their learning looks like in physical world. Generally the first layer learns basic features like edges, corners, etc. The middle layer learn filters that detect part of the object. For faces, they might learn to respond to eyes, noses, etc. The last layer have higher representation. They learn to recognize full object in different shape and position. Why it is happening this way? If any one of you can answer. Initially, we are having whole image, okay, and we are having a global perspective. So in that, we are getting more localized features, which are small features. Okay, we are focusing on those like edges and corners. But as the dimension of the image will reduce over the duration of layers, over the duration of training, what will happen, we will keep on approximating those information, and we will look at the bigger perspective, like what is there in the image. In the final layer, we will have the kind of information which will tell, yes, there is a cat in the image. So the kind of feature that are learned over the layers of network used to be in a order, like the smallest feature first and the highest feature at the end. Okay, higher representation will be learned at the end. Okay, when I'm saying higher representation, that means overall representation of the image. So you can see here, these are the kind of weights that are learned for human faces. In case of faces, we used to learn like eyes, this in some distorted way, and these are lower level features at the end. So initially this will be learned, then this will be learned, and then this will be learned. Okay, so this is important when you will design your network. This can be helpful for you. Then okay, this I have already explained, drawbacks. So this is just an example of that. I have already explained. I don't think again I have to explain. If it is clear to you, I think there was no doubt. If doubt is there, I can again explain through this example. Okay, so convolution layer, I have already explained what will happen in the convolution layer. Okay, there will be a input image, and there will be a filter. That filter have to be convolved over the image, and when we are saying convolution, it is simple multiplication but with a shifted filter. Okay, that filter has to be shifted 180 degree. Okay, so this filter will be applied and activation map will be generated. Okay, if we have 6 filters, 6 activation maps will be generated. 32 by 32 will convolve repeatedly with 5 by 5 filters, sync volume especially. If we will keep on applying convolution again and again, it will shrink. In 32, 28 to 24, like this. Pooling layer, I have explained. Just actual representation of the pooling layer, max pooling again. Some terminologies are there, like epoch. What is an epoch? What is batch size? What is the number of iteration? Tensor, learning rate, data normalization, and dropout. Okay. What is a epoch? One forward pass and one backward pass of all training examples. Then we have batch size, number of training example in one forward backward pass. Then number of iterations, number of passes each pass using batch size number of example. To be clear, one pass, one forward pass plus one backward pass is one uh, that is one pass, means forward and backward both. What is a tensor? You know tensor flow. What is the meaning of tensor? Tensor is an n-dimensional array. Keep track of computational graph and gradient. Learning rate, it determines how fast we want to update the weights during optimization. If learning rate is too small, gradient descent can be slow to find the mean. I think these terms are clear, or if you have doubt, you can ask. I can explain that individual term. Otherwise, you can have these PPTs for your future reference. Now we will build our first convolution neural network. If you want to take 5-minute break, you can take, and then we will start with the programming. We will make our own neural network. Okay, let me check. Your question is, what is stride? Strides is the amount of steps that we used to take. Like there is a 5 by 5 filter. First you started with the first pixel, then in next step how many steps you have to jump. If stride is 1, it will simply move to the next pixel. If stride is 2, it will jump 2 pixels. That is the stride, means steps that filter will take to move around. Okay. So just we'll take a 5 minutes break, and it is 1:07 now, and at 1:12 again we will start for the programming session, where we will design one actual network, one actual CNN network, and we'll test it.
Hello. Hello, sir. Sachin, sir. Actually, for a while, we are not able to hear anything. Your slide is struck at deep learning terminology. Are you able to hear us?
Sir, we are on a break of 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, so I missed it. Okay.
Okay.
And with respect to the attendance, like you don't have to panic. You just have to post your messages on that WhatsApp group itself. So Arju will take care of whatever concerns that you have. And don't personal message me, because like then once more I have to send it to Arju. So better to post it there directly on the WhatsApp group itself. Any concerns? Please do not post it here also, because in the chat, like she may not be looking, and you will miss out.
So, okay, I think we are good to start now again.
Yes, sir, please continue.
Okay, shall I start? Then, okay, so now I'll discuss with the implementation part. Uh, First, we'll discuss with PPT. Just a minute. So, how to make our first convolution neural network? Okay, am I audible? Okay, everything is fine. Fine. Okay, so there are few typical steps that we are going to take to make our first convolution neural network. We first thing that we need to have is to have a data set. Then we will visualize the data set. Then we will change the label to one hot encoding. What is one hot encoding? I will explain while doing that. Then scale the image pixels to 0, 1. Then in our example, we are using CIFAR10 dataset. You can use your own as well. Then images that are to be recognized. This is the sample dataset, some sample from the CIFAR10 dataset. There are 10 classes and some sample images are there. If you can see in this PPT, there are 10 possible labels like airplane, automobile, bird, cat, deer, and dataset size is 6,000 images split into 5,000 for 50,000 for training and 10,000 for testing. Total 60,000 images are there. Okay, this is the kind of network that we are going to design, which we will have two convolution, one max pool, one dropout, then two convolution, then max pool, then dropout, then one fully connected, then again dropout, then fully connected, and then finally softmax layer for classification. So like this, you can draw any architecture that you want. Okay, you can hit and try based on the existing networks. You can get certain ideas and you can try and you can say, okay, why not have four convolution layer in the beginning? Okay, in some cases you want to learn more generalized features, you can have more convolution layer in the end. Okay, you want to learn more number of edges or more number of local features, you can have more convolution layer in the starting. Simple, this is very easy. Okay, what we will do, we will download the dataset, visualize the image, change the label, all these things. then build and train our first CNN, and then save the model, and then we will test. This is all we are going to do. Okay, after that we will see some applications. First, let us go to the code. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the Google Colab screen?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, fine. So I will remain on this screen. So this is Google Colab. You can simply type. Are you aware of Colab or not? If you are not, okay, still you can see. You can just see Colab, and you will click here. Like this is the file that we want to open, or if you can create, if you want to create new notebook, you can create from here. And otherwise, I have already created just to save time. Okay, here from here, you can just create new notebook. Okay, I have already created. So first thing, what is the first step? We need to have data set. Okay, so for that we have to download this data set, and for that we have this command from keras.dataset import cifar 10. And how we have to load that data: xtrain comma ytrain comma xtest comma ytest. We have to load this data. Just if you will run here, it will download the data. It is downloading. Okay, so our first task is done. Data is downloaded. Just 2 line of code, simple. Now just to verify, this is not compulsory, just to verify, to check the shape of the xtrain. So the shape of the xtrain is 50,032 by 32 by 3. That means 50,000 images of size 32 by 32 by 3. Okay, now check the shape of the y train. It is 50,000 by 1, because in y train you have labels. Okay, set of images 50,000 images, and one column for the labels, like what it is. Then this is the first image. If you want to print, you can write xtrain 0. It is not actually required, just for the visualization purpose we are writing just print xtrain 0. Okay, because in xtrain you have 50,000 images. Out of this 50,000, we just printed the first one. Now this is the image in terms of number. Now if you want to plot it, we have to use matplotlib for that, and just plot.im show. Okay, here you are able to see the first image. Now if you want to see the label for this image, the label for this image is 6, number 6. Okay, because that all images are arranged from number 1 to 10. If aeroplane images are there, they are 1. If cat images are there, they are 2, like this. They are arranged. That's why that array is 50,000 by 1. Okay. Then if you want to see the second image, just replace 0 with 1. It's a truck. Label for this image should be different. So label is 9 here. Okay. Then see, only till now we have written only 2 line of code, that is dataset, and all this is just to check. Okay, not required in your actual CNN network. Okay. Now one important thing is there. You have to do one hot encoding. Okay, and I will tell you what is one hot encoding. At this moment, how data is arranged? Data is arranged like there are 50,000 images. Okay, 5,000 image for each category, and they are arranged in a way like serial number 1. In that column, in that row, there are 5,000 images of aeroplane. Serial number 2, 5,000 images of cat. Serial number 3, 5,000 images of truck. Like that. Okay, like that. 10 different classes, 10 different classes are there. Each class has a specific number. Okay, but this can be used only in case you want binary classification. Our output will be in terms of the probability. Okay, probability in terms of that a single image can belong 5% to class truck and 10% to class car and 80% to class train. Okay, because it is a multi-class classification. That means for each set of images, we should have, for each class we should have either 1 or 0. Okay, we will see how it is arranged. This concept of label, if it is clear, if it is not clear, you can just unmute your mic and can ask, because I'm not going to that screen where your chat window is going on. Okay, so just please ask if any question is there in case in terms of label and one hot encoding. Okay, now again, if we have to change it to one hot, so like Y train is 9 here. Again, there are directly method MP utils. In MP utils we have 2 categorical in 10 classes. Okay, up now this Y train 1, earlier it is showing only 9. That means it is belonging to the 9th category. Now if we see in one hot encoding, what is this label become now? It is 0% aeroplane, 0% car, 0% something, 0% this, and 100% it is a truck. That's why the last one is 1. Okay, so this is called as one hot encoding. Is it clear or any doubt is there? First thing is this. If this is clear, we can move forward.
So clear.
Yeah, I shared this file. Any question in one hot encoding?
No, sir.
Okay, then I'll move forward.
Sir.
Okay, so now it is every
Sir.
set of images has
Hello, sir.
10 values. Okay, one of them is 1, other one are 0. When we will test our image, we will also get similar kind of output, but in that case it may be some value here we will see in place of 0.
Hello,
So
sir.
whatever is having more probability, we will assign that as a result. Okay,
Sir, am I audible?
now just to normalize the data from 0 to 1, we will divide all
Hello,
image
sir.
by
Am I audible,
255 to 55, and then this is the output for normalization purpose. We just scaled all the values in between 0 and 1, so nothing difficult here. Now
Hello,
the
sir.
most important
Am I
part.
audible?
Okay, from Keras model import sequential, from Keras.layer import dense, dropout, flatten, conv, max pooling. All layers from Keras we are downloading. Okay, now we have all ready-made layer, and now all the things that are required to be done are here. Okay. Model equal to sequential. Initially, one blank model you have just created, and then you just keep on adding layer. Okay. In first layer, you just had set input shape. You have mentioned. Okay. Some parameters you have given 32, 3 by 3 activation ReLU, padding same. Okay. So what you have done, two model dot add, two convolution layer. Okay. Then model dot add max pooling layer. Two convolution, one max pooling, one model dot add dropout. Dropout ratio 0.25. Model dot add again convolution, two convolution layer, then model dot add max pooling, then dropout. After this, flatten means fully connected layer, then dense layer, again dropout layer, and finally soft max layer in the end. Okay, now let us run. This is the summary of the uh, model, and the command for that is model dot summary. Okay, two convolution, one max pool, one dropout, two convolution again, then max pooling, then dropout, then flatten, then dense, then dropout again, and then finally dense layer, soft max layer again. Okay, number of parameters are also mentioned. So up to this point, see, this is only the main code that you have to do in case of CNN. This is this much simple. With TensorFlow, with Keras, it is very easy to design. It is hardly 10-15 lines of code that you have to do, and you can design your own network. You with the concept that you know, you read more number of paper, you design your own network, and you can write your own code. Okay, one part is importing data. We have taken CIFAR. You can, based on your data set, which data set you want to use, you can choose your own method for the uh, data input. Okay, so finally, our model is ready. Next part is to compile this model. Here we have mentioned the kind of loss that we have to consider, optimizer and metrics of evaluation. Metrics of evaluation is accuracy, optimizer is ADAM, and loss is categorical cross entropy. Okay, so our model is compiled. Now we have to train our model now. So our data is ready, our model is ready, our model is compiled. Now the most important part is training. Okay, so now just I'll click here, and the command is simple, model.fit. So this training is going on. By the time training is going on, you can ask any question if you have. You can unmute your mic and you can ask.
Sir, am I audible, sir? Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Hello.
So we have written
Yeah.
20 epochs here. So it will run for 20 epochs. Am I not audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Hello? Someone has written, I think,
You're audible, sir.
Miss Anandi has written, I think the speaker is not working. So now I'm not getting any voice. Okay, so our training is completed now. Fine. So it is showing a loss, accuracy, validation loss, validation accuracy. Now we want to plot the training history. You can see this is with epoch, the loss is decreasing. Okay, it should decrease actually. This is validation loss and this is training loss. Okay, then we want to plot the accuracy, validation accuracy, model accuracy, and epoch. So see, this is ideal graph actually. Your model loss, your training loss is decreasing and your accuracy is increasing. So our training was perfect. This you have to check. Okay. Now the next task is to our model is created, it is compiled, and then it is trained. Okay. The next task is model.evaluate. And what we have passed here, X test, Y test, one hot encoding. So here we got our accuracy. It is 0.76, means 76% accuracy we got. So up to this time, we know our task is our training and evaluation is done. Now how to save these weights, because training is done, this is on a small data set, that's why it's done in such a faster way. Actually, if you will test on bigger data set, you will train on bigger data set, it will take 4 5 days 6 days sometime. So you have to save that model. Okay, so for that there is a simple command, model.save, and now our model is saved with the name mycifr10 model.h5. If you want to see, here is our. Now after this, I want to test one image, that it is a cat or not. Okay, this is just an image I uploaded, a cat image I uploaded. Now training is over, everything is over. Now I loaded this. Even if you will not, you can use it anytime. Even after this, uh, you can use it in your system as well. If you will copy these weights and you will test your image with these weights. So you forgot whatever you done. Now you have this file. These are trained weights actually. Okay. So now we will read this image cat.jpg, and then we will resize it to 32 by 32 by 3 because our network requirement is like that. So we have resized that. Now we will plot this image, and now see, for prediction there is a simple command, model.predict. Okay, and in that just you have to pass the images that you want to check. Okay, probabilities we got. Now these are the probabilities: 2.42, 3.37, 5.19, 1.01. So here is a high probability, here is a high probability, here is a high probability, 8.5, 6.6. Okay, so actually it is a cat. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so fine. Now you have to check where you got the high probability. Okay, for that, simply instead of matching it with the numbers, we have just written a code, number to class. Okay, it is simple. Means we have created an array. airplane, automobile, bird, cat, deer, frog, all 10 categories, and just we have indexed. There is a command argument sort. Okay, and then just we have printed number to class index 9, probability 0, index 9, just to show the output in the, just a minute. Now see, the probability of being cat is 0.10%, 0.10, 0.85 for dog. So result is not that much good. Okay, but we have tested. Actually, it is detecting in a wrong way, but no problem. It depends on the network that we have trained. Okay, so not necessarily will get the right result every time, but from step one, what we have done for testing, initially we need, first part is we need data, then we need to design our model, then we need to train our network, then we need to uh, save our model, and after that we can test anytime whenever we want. So if this in this, if you have any question you can ask, otherwise we'll discuss some more recent topics in case of computer
Hello.
vision. This is a small demonstration. I'll share this file with you where you can also run the same in your Google Colab and you can test it. Should I repeat this code once again if you want, or explain again, or is it okay? You
Sir,
understood?
please explain one
If you have
hot
any doubt, I
encoding.
can repeat it again.
So one hot encoding, I just want to know whether it's we are supposed to do it for every class. The one hot encoding code which you explained previously.
Okay,
Please
so you got
explain
it.
that.
Fine. So we'll go ahead with the PPT. Quickly, we will discuss. So till now, we have discussed the usability of CNN in terms of images, why they are good for images, how to implement, how they are comparable to the traditional neural network, and how they are implemented using Google Colab or maybe Jupyter Notebook. You can try. Okay, but that code I have shown, step by step code I have shown. Now coming back to our PPT. Yes, let me unshare the code and share the PPT. So you can also think for your own networks and you can try. Even in the same problem, you can try having 3 convolution layer in the starting, then again 3 convolution layer, or maybe 4 convolution layer, 2 dropout layer, then 2 max pool layer, 2 average pool layer. You can try and see the output, what changes could be there. Okay. Now another, this is a general discussion actually in the end. Then why deep learning is getting so much important? Deep learning actually was invented long back, but it was not successful at that point of time. The reason being is, first thing is big data, and second thing is GPU. We have lots of visual data at this moment through Google, through cameras, through different sources. We have lots of image data, and the most important invention is the GPU, because GPU are available in availability of GPU is more, so we can run this deep learning. Because on CPU it is very difficult to learn to execute CNN code. Okay, some recent progress I am just showing you, which will give you idea to start your research in that direction using CNN and computer vision, or maybe mostly in computer vision, not necessarily CNN only. You can use other recent things as well, transformers, GANs you can use. Okay, so what kind of task can be done in computer vision? First one is classification, detection, segmentation. Okay, these are image related tasks in which you can do classification, like it's a person, it's a sheep, it's a dog. Then detection, where it is, where is sheep, where is person. Then segmentation, you segmented different region into different colors. Okay, image recognition quality is increasing year by year on different data set. Okay, classification error is decreasing, and now it is even less than the human error. Okay, so we have got very good result on image recognition. We have object detection. You can see we can have age predictor. All these are computer vision related tasks that you can find very well on the internet. So various solution you will find, and these are working problems or ongoing research all in all these areas. Especially in case of detection and recognition, we get very good used to get very good result. We have activity recognition, semantic segmentation, where we segment the different region into different colors. Then pneumonia detection in medical also there is a lots of use, especially in diagnosis, MRI, CT scan images, X-ray images. There is lots of scope for computer vision. Image colorization is another challenging problem where you have to color a black and white image into a color image with perfection. Okay, photorealistic style transfer, original photo, reference photo, and then result. Okay, you have to transfer the style of one photo on the other. Background removal with perfection. See the edges here. This monkey has a background in the first image, green color background, and in second image there is no background at all. There are various websites also for this task, and background removal can enhance the result in various ways. Object removal is there. Here is the example image completion, in which you can correct the images which are distorted. Okay, and this is especially beneficial in case of dehazing as well, where you don't get the proper input. This is lip sync from audio. You just check out this video with the link which I am giving. I think you might have already seen this video, was very famous, where we are able to perform exact lip sync like actual president. Deepfakes, generating fake image or fake objects which looks like real. Okay, then we have some GAN based applications where we are generating images. These are not real images. If you see, these are generated images, and you see the quality of games, quality of virtual world that we can create if we can generate this much quality of good images. It is in fact hard to differentiate between a real image and a generated image. This is a very good research area to work on and see the evolution of GAN, Generative Adversarial Network. In 2014, this was the output, 15 this, and 2017, you can check out this output, how good we are able to generate now. Multi-domain image-to-image translation is another domain on which you can work. Then we have unsupervised image-to-image translation, like you want to click an image in certain weather, and you want to say like how it will look like when it will rain. Okay, so this is all from my end. If you have any question, you can ask.
Yeah, there are few questions in the chat box. So, GAN, I think there will be more discussion during the next session also. So,
Okay.
there is a query how to install
yes,
TensorFlow.
I'll see the issues one by one.
Yes.
First thing, I'll share this code and PPT. So that is, so many have requested for PPT and code. So I am going to share. with Godfrey sir, and he will share with you probably by today or
Yes, I'll
maybe
share
tomorrow.
with them.
Okay. How to install TensorFlow? Means it's a step-by-step process. You can go to TensorFlow site and all process you will get. Basically, if you will install Anaconda, then in Anaconda you can install all these libraries. You check out the installation of Anaconda. That is a one-step solution for all Spider and Jupyter. Everything will be there inside Anaconda. So Anaconda is a nice framework to work on if you want to work on Python and machine learning. Okay, so I'll suggest you install Anaconda. Jupyter and Spider will be inbuilt IDE within Anaconda. Also, TensorFlow installation option will also be there. Okay. Uh, then this question is any basic network there to detect whether the image from GAN or not. So many work is going on. Okay, so not any specific work. If you want some research papers, you can contact me. I think my contact is there in the PPT, or you can just get it from our college website. You can contact me for in any research point of view. If you have any specific question in terms of programming, coding, or any kind of suggestions in terms of the problem that you are planning, anytime you can contact, no problem. Okay, so uh, right now I don't have any kind of specific material, but you can get back and I will respond, no problem. Okay, you can write a mail, you can call me, you can WhatsApp me, no issues. If there is a genuine need of any kind of paper or any kind of programming need or help from my end in terms of research. Any other? It is there in the PPT, I think. Let me check. You can get it on our college website. Okay. I'll just share my
Any other
email ID.
queries?
Next time sharing. Okay. You can mail me, no problem. Okay.
So
So
if
that's
there
all
are
from
no
my
more
end.
queries,
I
like
hope you learned something
yeah,
in this session. And I
yeah.
think there
So
is
if
another
there are no
hands-on
more,
session
if
which
there are
will
no
be
more,
on more detail in the next session. Okay. Thank you. Any other question if you have, you can ask. No problem. Or any other discussion if you want to have, or anything from the lecture if you want me to repeat.
so thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable time.
So, okay, Godfrey sir.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
joining us, and I hope all the participants were immensely benefited by your speech. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So participants, let's meet at 2:30. Thank you. I'm ending this session.